Welcome to today's Explainer, guys. I am so incredibly excited you're here because we're diving into something that honestly feels like absolute magic, but is actually pure, strict science. We are talking about making a tiny, dry, lifeless-looking little speck of a seed completely burst into life. If you've ever felt the sting of a failed garden, get ready because we are totally demystifying the whole process today. Okay, picture this. You buy those expensive seeds, you lovingly plant them, water them every single day, and nothing. A whole month goes by, you dig up the soil, and you just find a rotted, sour-smelling mess. It is so frustrating. People love to brush it off and say, "Oh, I just don't have a green thumb," or "I guess I just have bad luck." But let me tell you, it's got nothing to do with luck. And it's definitely not about your hands. It's about simple, completely correctable mistakes. Here is the harsh, but honestly kind of comforting truth. Plants truly do not care about your hands. Germination is a precise biological formula. It follows the strict laws of nature. If you follow the formula, the seed absolutely must sprout. If you break the rules, it rots. It really is that simple. So today, we're going to expose the 9 critical mistakes most beginners make and give you the exact scientific formula to fix them. So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll be following the seed chronologically through 5 stages: selection and storage, perfect soil prep, awakening the seed, sowing techniques, and finally seedling care. Let's get right into it. Stage 1, selection and storage. I like to call this the foundation of life, because if you start with dead seeds, well, you're setting yourself up for instant failure. You can't wake the dead, right? This brings us straight to mistakes 8 and 9. Seeds are living, breathing things with very strict expiration dates. Leafy greens, they only have peak vitality for maybe 1 to 2 years. For herbs like cilantro, germination can plummet to literally 0% by year 2. And mistake number 9 is using seeds you harvested yourself way too hastily. Often, they get picked before they're fully mature, meaning the embryo is just too weak to ever sprout no matter how perfectly you plant it. So what do you do with the leftovers? Whatever you do, do not just roll the packet up and leave it on a hot, humid balcony. The heat and humidity will kill that little seed embryo in months. You need to induce a safe hibernation. Seal your leftovers tightly in a bag, toss in a moisture-absorbing desiccant packet, and pop the whole thing right into your fridge's crisper drawer.
All right, moving on to stage 2, perfect soil prep, building the nursery. And oh boy, this brings us to mistake number 3, which is all about the dirt.
Listen, so many people just grab thick, sticky garden mud to plant their seeds in, figuring it'll hold the plant up nicely. But a germinating seed really needs to breathe. It goes through intense aerobic respiration. If you pack it into dense mud, you're literally suffocating the seed. Highly aerated, fluffy soil is absolutely non-negotiable for those tiny, fragile new roots. To completely avoid suffocating your seeds, here is the golden 5-3-2 soil formula. That's 5 parts clean soil, 3 parts worm castings for some gentle nutrients, and 2 parts treated coco coir, or charred rice husks, for that crucial fluffiness. And the absolute best part? This highly aerated mix is universal. Whether you have delicate, thin-shelled lettuce seeds or big, tough pumpkin seeds, this ratio gives them exactly the oxygen they need to thrive. Now, before you start mixing, a couple of crucial heads-ups. If you are using Coco Coir, you have got to wash it thoroughly first to remove the acidic tannins. Otherwise, it's going to stunt your seeds. Oh, and here's a massive pro tip. Always add a biological fungus called trichoderma to your mix. Think of it like a microscopic bodyguard. It completely shields your fragile seeds from rot and bacterial attacks hiding in the soil. Stage 3, awakening the seed, or breaking dormancy. Most seeds are basically in a super deep sleep inside their packets, and they desperately need physical hydration to wake up. Skipping this step? Yeah, that's mistake number 5. To break that dormancy without actually ruining the seed, we use the classic 2 parts boiling, 3 parts cold water rule. That creates a perfect warm bath of about 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. This mild heat shock softens the shell and kills off surface bacteria. Thin seeds like lettuce, no soak needed. Medium seeds take about 3 to 4 hours. But for thick seeds, look at that maximum time, 6 to 8 hours. If you soak them any longer than that, they will drown and ferment. Not good.
And that leads us right into mistake number 4, failing to physically manipulate ultra-hard seeds. Mother Nature gave seeds like cilantro and bitter melon an incredibly tough armor. If you just toss them in the dirt, the sprout wastes massive amounts of energy just trying to break out. To fix this, use the handle of a knife to gently crack the round cilantro shell right in half, or use some nail clippers to snip the very edge of a bitter melon seed. This one simple physical hack saves you up to 15 days of waiting.
On to stage 4, sowing techniques, placing the seed. This is the moment of truth, guys, where literally a single millimeter of difference can make or break your sprout's chances. Let me introduce you to the big one, mistake number 1. The number 1 reason seeds die right in the dirt is simply planting them too deep. The golden rule here is that you must plant the seed at a depth of exactly 2 to 3 times its own diameter. If it's too deep, it exhausts all its stored energy just trying to climb up to the surface, and it will basically collapse before it ever sees the sun. We also have to consider mistake number 7, lighting. Believe it or not, seeds are actually categorized by their light preferences. Light-loving seeds, like lettuce and celery, need to be sown right on the surface because they require dim light to activate. Dark-loving seeds, like onions and tomatoes, demand a nice layer of soil and shade to suppress the light. Though keep in mind, if you're in a really hot tropical climate, both types are still going to need a light straw cover for the first few days just to survive the harsh sun and keep their moisture. Next up is mistake number 4, overcrowding. Please do not just dump a whole packet of seeds into one pot. When you sow too densely, the seedlings are going to aggressively fight each other for nutrients, light, space, the whole shebang. Always use those segmented nursery trays and strictly sow only 1 to 2 seeds per hole.
Once they are perfectly sown, environmental control is everything. First, never pour heavy water over your seeds. Use a fine misting spray so you don't compact that beautiful, fluffy soil into cement. Check your moisture. If you squeeze the soil, water should absolutely not drip out. It should clump together but break apart easily when you tap it. If it's waterlogged, the seeds are forced into anaerobic respiration. They literally ferment and rot. Finally, avoid high heat. Summer soil in a plastic tub can easily hit 50 degrees Celsius, which instantly destroys the germination enzymes.
Finally, stage 5, seedling care, the first sprout. This is where we get to celebrate that very first little green sprout. But hey, our job isn't quite done yet. We've got to ensure its survival. A massive mistake beginners make here is rushing things. Do not direct sow your seeds out into the harsh garden immediately. They are incredibly vulnerable to weather shock and pests like snails. Keep them safe in their nursery trays for about 2 to 4 weeks. Once they establish roots and start actively growing, they're going to need food. Fertilize them with a highly diluted liquid ratio of 2 parts water to 1 part fertilizer. And most importantly, wait to transplant them into the main garden only when you see 2 to 4 true leaves appear. Those beautifully defined true leaves are the ultimate sign of strength. When your plants reach that milestone, they have successfully completed their nursery journey. They are finally strong enough to take on the big garden. So there you have it. It's not magic, and it is for sure not luck. By avoiding these common mistakes, nailing your soaking times, mixing up perfectly fluffy soil, hitting the right depth, and waiting for those true leaves, you have completely mastered the biological formula. With this exact science now in your hands, the only question left is, what seeds are you going to awaken today? Get out there, grab some dirt, and start growing. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.